Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay. Diamond drills, high pressure on. Black gold show suits you. Bump it for me, yeah. You frack it well. Big work non-stop all day long. Filling barrels with crude oil. Sell them for me, yeah. You frack it well.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall all the night sensation.
Welcome everybody to another live stream for a review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13, Episode 13. Before we begin, Happy Easter. If you believe in that, if you are in that kind of mood, I hope you had a nice week. As you can hear, mine was up and highs. No, I was say up and lows. It was kind of up and lows. Now, let's greet the chat. First of all, we have Fantasia, Sen, Sasha, Jules, Ladybug, Carrie, Vertori, Mrs. G, Corinne, Jessica, Melanie, Kylustration, Zoe, Phoenix Rising, Daniel, Gothboy UK, Karina, Lonely Texas Healer. Callie Kennedy, Robin Barron, Nora, Kevin Hoffman, Insular Independent Shank, Antonina, and everybody else that just joined right now. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. So, we are going to have our usual review. Comments, as usual, at top RPDR videos. If you absolutely need me to see your comment, if it's relevant to whatever I am discussing at the moment, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. As usual, you know that I'm not the best in doing that, but we're going to try anyway. In the after show, we're going to have our Kiki time with question, comments, whatever comes. We are going to have our special time, our venting time, if you know what I mean. Phoenix Rising says, Candy Muse should have went Hope in that double save shenanigan. Should have went home. Typo. Delusion on the runway. Yeah. Phoenix loved Delusion on the runway. I like it as well. Okay. Now, dear God, tonight it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard doing this review. So let's get a little bit of liquid energy and get ready for this review. Okay. Now, before we begin, a word on our resident mascot, Little Biscuit. She is hanging in there. She had a very difficult week. I'm surprised she made it this far. She's really fighting like a lion. And it's taking a little bit of a toll to take care of her because she has a ton going out right now. We can talk about it later, but she's here. This is the important thing, that you know that she's here. Now, another thing. Which one of you went to the Tamisha's live and gave us a shout out on the phone line? Because I don't know that voice. It's not someone that I've ever seen on Discord, I think. So, come on, do you come out? Let me see who the hell you are. Because I've been curious. Does anybody know? We're going to see. We're going to see what comes from the chat. Oh my god, tonight. Come on. Get in the mood. I'm trying. Okay. So, welcome to the shop. In this episode, we have Olivia Lux, future owner of the biggest organic farm in the United States, after being thrown under the bus by the edit and her fellow sisters. What is funny about this is that they threw under the bus also her family, so it's probably going to be a family-owned business. We have the next level of elevation for our hero, Simone. One of the best acting challenge that we have ever had on this show, possibly. Some crazy confessionals, including one temporal incursion from our usual spiky hair Rosé. And if I trained you well, let me know in the comments when exactly spiky hair Rosé comes back and why. And let's see how good you have been. Then we have some fairly good cryptiques, that's refreshing, and that moment in Untucked that kept viewers on the edge of their seat for all the wrong reasons. Finally, as usual, our last speculations on who could be the winner, the format, and whatever is going to happen in the next episode. So, where's my image? Oh, wait a moment. While I try to find the image, Phoenix Rising says, I guess after throwing Utica under the bus, Olivia became the new Utica. I mean, that Urkel comment, oh, we're going to see that. We are going to see that. Jules, Spiky Hair Rosé was a mood this episode. Well, it's a little bit difficult to find her out because she has a very, very similar haircut. She had actually only one incursion. Just one. So, let's dive into the review, shall we? Where's the image? Here it is. Okay. So, Utica has been just eliminated. We are back in the workroom, and it's a perfect time for Candy to take a little bit of a dump on Aja and Dahlia. I mean, you can think everything you want about Candy Muse, but she does have nerve, so I will give her that. If you remember, in the very beginning of the season, she was talking about, I don't think she named names, but she was saying that everybody outside of Drag Race was saying that she was on the low side of the family. And she was throwing a little bit of shade here and there. So she has nerves. She definitely has nerves. I will give her that. Immediately after this, we jump to RuPaul telling us what will be the maxi challenge for this episode. The queens will have to act in Henny, I Shrunk the Drag Queen. What's interesting about this is that we don't have mini advertisement this episode. I wonder why that happened. Did they run out of money? Nobody knows. So no mini advertisement. And interestingly, I cannot say that. Interestingly enough, okay, I made it. Interestingly enough, the queens will assign the parts themselves, which is refreshing as well. But of course, there is a little bit of a catch to it. And Olivia is here to tell us that the parts for the script seems suspiciously similar to the queens that are left in the workroom. Immediately after that, through a confessional, Gottmik has a rebuttal by pointing out that Olivia chose another shy and apologetic character for her acting challenge. And to that, Candy retittles by explaining why she should be America's next drag superstar. Now, Gottmik has a lot of nerves as well by calling out Olivia, because as we are going to see, she is going to be the same one-note character over and over again this episode as well. And talking about Candy, who defines herself as the villain, crazy and delusional, well, I'm happy she said it on screen. Because we've been joking about it since like 10 episodes by saying that Candy's brand is drama and delusion on the runway. So when I told you she's aware of the brand and she knows how to use it, this is final proof. Thankfully, this is final proof. It's a good thing that we got this confessional. Of course, we cannot go on without adding some fake laughs on one of the Rosé's jokes. It's fine. You know, it's funny that they have the camera pointing at Candy while the fake Candy laugh is added on the background. I will have this in this episode. But, you know, it's a little bit of elevation for Rosé. After all, by the end of this episode, she's going to end up in the top 4. She's even going to winning the episode. She's even going to be winning the episode. So we need to give her a little bit of a push, just a little bit. And after this, since we're talking about crazy confessionals, we have an incursion from Simone feeling her Britney Spears-inspired fantasy while telling us about her insecurities. Of course, we have a copious amount of pictures because you need to be focused. You need to be seeing that she is part of the House of Avalon. She knows Gigi Good. They are part of the same house. And we have this very vulnerable moment and very constructed vulnerable moment for Simone, which is going to be a common theme across the episode because by the end of it, she will have to rise again with a newfound strength to fight her battle to the top. Storytelling. What can I tell you? It's storytelling. In all of this, meanwhile, Candy is basically transcending to another plane of existence by virtue of just summoning a mental image of Joey J. This is, I don't know what went on with confessionals this episode. It's just crazy. It's just crazy and it's bombarding us from the very beginning. There is no going back from here. Goth by UK says mixed confessionals pulled Olivia down for her performance as being typecasting. Set her up straight away. Yes, of course. That was just one of the many push down that Olivia will receive during this episode, and there is a ton of them. We're going to see in detail each and every one of them because, you know, again, some people like Olivia, some people don't like Olivia. This is not a matter of liking or disliking someone. This is a matter of judging how the show is trying to direct your opinion in a very, very specific way, which is not really honest for something that's coming at you with the name reality, with the word reality in its name. But, you know, it is how it is. After this, we jump directly to filming, where we can get a taste of 3 queens doing exactly the same characterizations over and over and over and over again. And one confessional from Olivia throwing a little bit of shade to Simone, but in reality, the editors are really throwing some shade at her because she makes a comment about Simone's characterization saying, oh, Simone is out and she has her factory voice, which is so funny. And all of this together makes her look completely disillusioned. Makes her look like, oh yes, here is my smile, but I'm also throwing her under the bus, which by the end of the day is more a push down on Olivia than Simone herself. After this, we have 5 minutes of Candy Muse screaming, which is funny. I think it was one of the best part of this whole filming. And please, keep a look on what Carlson and Michelle, keep a look on how Carlson and Michelle are actually reacting to this. Because they're like, yes, Candy, do it again, do it again. They're having a fun, they're getting their life. By the end of the episode, they will be critiquing her for this exact moment because they were really directing her. This moment was to tell Candy that she needs to evolve her character a little bit. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? We saw this. We have a pair of eyes. We saw this. You pushed her because it was funny. But, you know, it's the cryptiques. We're going to talk about that without any doubt. From the chat, Jules, Carlson and Michelle having a mini orgasm over Rosé's acting. Well... Vittori says Rick and Morris all play themselves and they are either really good at it or the same note, if they have to be in the bottom, of course. I completely agree with that. But this is this year's Cryptiques. This is about this season 13, where really nothing you say, do, or nothing you say or do matters as long as they have to carry on a storyline. And the Cryptiques is probably the part that is most affected, is where we see the most, where we see this issue come out the most. Now, in all of this, you might think, okay, this is fun. We have this screaming from Candy. We have that campy part with Candy and Gottmik. Yes, it's all nice. It's all in good mood. But don't forget. Olivia has to go home by the end of this episode. So, of course, it's time to shit on Olivia a little bit. And we are hit with Olivia asking a question, and everybody is bitch-facing. Everybody is pissed off at Olivia because Olivia is being unreasonable. And on top of that, we have 5 different confessionals from all of the queens but Rosé, basically telling us why Olivia should be... Why Olivia is not a good person. Why Olivia is being... What's the word? Why Olivia is being disingenuous in asking her questions. So we have Candy Muse telling us that nobody really smiles and is happy 24/7, which I agree. But the fact that this confessional was put in this specific moment and edited in this specific way is used to send a clear message to the viewers. Then after that we have Simone telling us that Olivia is the Hercule of the group, which is, of course, really nice of Simone. I'm sure it was a joke, but, you know, the edit is the edit. All of this happens in a matter of 2 minutes. Then after this, we have Gottmik imitating Olivia's voice to tell us that... Olivia is being disingenuous in asking where the camera is and where she should be looking. Then we have Simone telling us that she knows exactly all of these things. She is just taking advantage of the moment to just be a diva. And then Gottmik again, calling Olivia a divalicious. 5. After everyone is bitch-facing to Olivia's questions, we are hit with 5 confessionals. Because, don't forget, we need to take a huge dump on Olivia this episode. She has to go home. By the end of the episode, the audience has to be convinced that she deserves to go home. I mean, after all, think about it for a moment. I don't know how many of you really thought that Olivia had a shot at the top 4, especially against this 4 queen, but against many other queens that were in the competition. So already I think the vast majority of the audience is thinking, yes, Olivia will go home because she is not on par with all the other queens. But doing this kind of edit, that was a little bit extra. And we are just starting. The best is coming later. After filming, we are back in the workroom, and it's time for more humanizing moments, especially for Simone. So we see Simone crying during a confessional because she's afraid of being eliminated. And of course, it's time for a little bit more pictures. In case you didn't see them the first time, you have to remember where she's coming from, which one is her drag house, and of course that she is friend with Gigi Good. You know, she was in the top 3 last season. So we have to keep all of this in mind. So while I do understand the the emotions that go through Simone, the stress, the situation, that's completely understandable. But of course, the edit has to dial it up to 100 because she is our hero and she needs our attention right now. Because by the end of this episode, she will rise like a phoenix once more. She is the hero after all. This is part of her edit. So, another moment that we have is Gottmik and Candy talking about misrepresentation of trans people and queer people and gay people in media before Drag Race. Which is another chilling moment for the show. Because they're like, oh, you know, before all of this, all that was in television was trans people getting killed, gay people being hookers, or being flamboyant, or being all about shopping. Which I must tell you, I agree with all of that. I thought exactly the same, and this is exactly the same reason why I fell in love with this show in the first place. It just sounds a little bit suspicious that in a matter of 2 episodes, if you remember last episode, we are shilling again for Drag Race, as if the viewership is kind of going down. And I didn't have time to update the graph, but when the episode comes out, in the same section I will show you the graph of the viewership. And it's not a good look. From the chat, Jules, Utica and Tina got no backstory or video from home. Shade, shade, shade. Utica didn't even have a mirror moment. Not even a mirror moment. It's like they took Utica and thought, I'm going to kick you in the ass, no matter what. I don't give a shit. This was Utica's treatment. It was distasteful. Goth by UK says, the thing is Olivia's acting wasn't top 3 in the challenge. We could see that. They didn't need to kick her too. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It was uncalled for because I've been telling you since episode 3, episode 4, that there was something strange about the way Olivia's acting was portrayed, as if she's not really a good actress. Of course, we had episode after episode after episode to actually see that. But at least this is something that we saw immediately, from the very, very beginning. Jules says, Phoenix says, why show Utica as a human? That wouldn't work for the villain edit. Yes, of course. Of course, the villain is never a person. God forbid that we have an actual portrayal of a villain as a human, after all, because in real life there are no villains. There are only humans who make poor decisions based on wrong assumptions. So, moving on, we have the best part of the whole show, which is the Maxi Challenge, the acting challenge. I thought it was fantastic. It was creative, it was written fairly well, making fun of pop culture, if you get the reference, of course, if you're old enough to know the reference. It was self-referential to the show, but in all the good ways. It was stupid, it was campy, it was really reminiscent of that old Drag Race we all fell in love with. The editing for the challenge was pretty good. Of course, it was nothing special in terms of it was nothing incredible in terms of special effects. But for once, it's nice to see the editors actually put in the work and not for shitting on one of the contestants, because that is what they are best known for on this show. I think this whole challenge was a fantastic example of fan service done right, with the reference to Bain de la Creme, India Farah's breastplate from season 3, the reading challenge, which is a staple of Drag Race. It was really one of the best acting challenges I think that we've ever had on this show. And a great example of what can happen if you hire people that can actually write. So I hope in the writing room at World of Wonder, people are taking notes, because this is exactly what we want to see. Not that stupid bullshit that we got served time after time after time again, where they don't even put in the minimal effort to write believable character, or something that is genuinely funny, or something that has this tiny little amount of thought into it. So it was a great example of where this show could be if they actually put effort in preparing it and writing it. Gothboy UK says, it reminded me of the video from season 4, where the top 3 queens were tiny. Yes, the video for Glamazon. But that's not the reference. It's actually a movie. It's an old movie, I think, from the 80s or maybe the early 90s. And it was huge in pop culture. I mean, even I know the reference, which means it had to be big. Now, where am I? Oh, there we go. So, in this challenge, what I think that the script was amazing. They did a good job in the editing room, and but the queens were absolutely not on par with the material and the effort that was put for this challenge. Everyone but Rosé could basically go home based on based on what they did for this challenge, because Candy Muse was Candy Muse. Everybody noticed that. Simone was again that one-note character that we've seen from the beginning of the season. As Olivia said, the factory woman, which is a good character, I will give her that. But if you are that same character once, twice, thrice, and then it goes on and on and on, it starts to become boring. I start feeling like, okay, I have seen that. I have seen that multiple times. I even saw your character failing in the episode before during the roast. I need to see something else. At this point, I need to see something else. I know that all of the queens were basically typecasted in this, but that doesn't justify the fact that you didn't really put any effort in creating a character, especially since you got to have a conversation with Miss Scarlet. I was expecting more. But at least, and of course, Gottmik was the usual whiny character, which got really on my nerves. I didn't find her funny in the slightest. She was annoying. She was annoying. I could see the effort in there, but the character was just so annoying. The best part was when she was sneezing, because basically she wasn't speaking. But at least all 3 of them put some kind of effort in their part. I mean, it was acceptable in the end. If you didn't know who Simone, Candy Muse, and Gottmik are, if you just tuned in for this episode, you would think, well, okay, of course, they're not professional actors, but they didn't do a good job. They didn't do a bad job. It was nice. It was good. But of course, we know them. Now, the point is, apart from Rosé, who did amazing, and apart from Candice, Simone, and Gottmik, who brought the same energy, Olivia, for me, was the absolute worst. Olivia was just terrible. There is no other way to describe it. She cannot act. She is not believable. The delivery was stiff. There was no commitment whatsoever to the character. It was painful to watch. Honestly, it was painful to watch. So, and if you remember, oh, here I wrote it. It was back in episode 4 where I told you there is something strange about Olivia's acting. Back in episode 4, she was praised for her acting, and it was exactly the same as this episode. So there was something suspicious at the very, very beginning. But of course, then it was confirmed. Remember the Bossy Rossi when she had the mime part? And then at the end, she uttered one line, and it was absolutely terrible. Then we had Snatch Game, the Soda Challenge, the Roast. We had plenty of time to realize that Olivia might have many talents, might have huge room for improvement because she's still a young queen, but she cannot act for shit. That's just how it is. That's the truth. Olivia cannot act for shit as much as Gottmik cannot lip sync for shit. So let's be real about it. Now, after this, we have some... we move on to the critiques. It's already time for the critiques. My God, we're going really fast this episode. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. So, no, wrong slide. Here we go. Let's move on the critique. Arguably the best part of the stream. Let me put on my notes because we have a lot to talk about. First of all, I agreed with most of the critiques from the judges, which is something strange because usually they say everything is the contrary of everything, but for some reason this episode the vast majority were all on point. I was shocked. I didn't expect this. So we start with Simone. And to Simone, they said that she nailed... Oh, spoiler alert. I didn't agree... The most I didn't agree with were the one for Simone. So, Simone, her acting... the critiques for her acting are that she nailed it. She's a natural talent. She popped. She was very funny. There were subtleties and nuances in her performance, which I guess if you don't know the factory woman, maybe that's the impression that you would have. This actually came from the guest judge, so I'm going to give her a pass on this. And her character felt like a real person. And I was like, no, it didn't feel like a real person. It was the factory woman. It wasn't a real person. But the best part is yet to come, because after saying that the character felt like a real person, they continue with, while others were one note. So while they are critiquing Simone, they're throwing everybody else under the bus. Because, you know, she's the hero. So, of course, everyone else in comparison to Simone was one note. And what's funny about it, it's that they don't even say everybody else but Rosé, because you would think at the end of this, Rosé has to win. So you would think, well, they could at least have said everybody else but Rosé. No. Everybody else was one note, while Simone's character felt like a real person. Well, that's why we call them the critiques. From the chat, Jules, wow, Michelle was giving actual critiques. Yes, I was surprised as well. John Young said, love you and your stream. Thank you so much for joining us. Coffee, welcome. So, for the runway, Simone's critiques are, she was amazing, she was fashion, she was spectacular, she has a gorgeous silhouette, the dress was flattering, and it was a great night for her. Now, I liked her dress. Don't get me wrong. You know that I have the sense of fashion that I have. I wouldn't even go as far as calling it a sense of fashion. I have a sense. Let's call it like that. But I liked what she served on the runway. I think she looked beautiful. And they are right. The silhouette is spectacular. She always killed that damn walk. You can never clock Simone on that runway. But there is something about it. It's the silhouette. It fits great, but it's always the same. It's always the same since episode 1. And I don't have a problem with it. But if you're going to criticize other queens for their silhouette, then you have to apply the same critique to everybody else. Otherwise, you are what's the word? You are using a double standard, and that's not acceptable. That's not respectful of the queens or the viewers who are actually watching the show. Now, other than that, her acting for me was one note. It was the same character over and over, but at least it was acceptable. At least it fit somewhat the challenge. I wanted a little bit more. I wanted to see something new. I thought this was a great opportunity for experimenting. But, all in all, she wasn't that bad. But taking into account all of this, I think that she was at best safe. At best. Not to say a low safe. Because compared to Rosé, there was no comparison whatsoever. She should have been safe, like at best, if even a low safe. Not a bottom, but at least a low safe. Magdalena says, if we didn't know the category, I would have never gotten pocket from Simone's look. Well, I actually did, because this back panel that she has on the back of her head looks like the back pocket of a pair of jeans. So for me, it was, I don't know, it was pretty well constructed. I liked it. I liked it very much. John Young, this episode was cringe. One of the worst acting challenges. One of the worst? I loved it. I lived for it from the beginning to the end. I thought it was genius. Well, that's for telling that everybody else's own opinion. But I loved it. I lived for it. I wish every acting challenge will be exactly like this. Let's retire the Bossy Rossi whatever and get something like this every episode. Why not? Antonina says, the one time I thought I can skip an episode, you're saying it was one of the best acting challenges in the show. And Orlin says, nothing really to do with this moment, but who was the guy with Scarlett Johansson? I have no idea. I am completely out of touch with celebrities, their life, and whatever goes on around them. I couldn't be any more less interested in that. Moving on. Next critiques, we have Olivia. And to Olivia, they said that about her acting, that she knows how to do her character and she does it very well. And this is one of the only critiques that I do not agree with what the judges are saying. The character that Olivia has is not believable, is not performed very well, it's not convincing. So I understand that they want to give a positive critique, but this makes no sense because her character is not done well. Point blank. And then they continue saying that they've seen this character a lot. They would have loved to see someone dark and evil, which I completely agree with it. As I told you the episode before already, they wanted more versatility. She should have taken it one step forward. No. She should have taken it one step further. They wanted more. And they were unable, and she was unable to put in those peaks and valleys in her performance. And and please keep your attention on this. She was unable to put in those peaks and valleys in her performance, and they think that she needed more time, like Simone said. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? You are critiquing Olivia. Why are you bringing it up, Simone? So they are elevating Simone at the expense of Olivia. But you know, this whole episode is only about taking a huge dump on Olivia. So since we're already taking a huge dump on her, let's elevate Simone by contrast. Because why not? Why not? About the runway, they said it was stunning, it looked gorgeous, lots of details, but it was not about pockets. And I completely agree about it. I completely agree with it. Her acting was a crime against humanity. Please, Olivia, stop immediately. Stop immediately. It was just terrible. I cannot find any word to describe it. It was not even cringe. It was just terrible. Now, of course, in this episode, for me, she really is peaks and valleys. And with that, what I mean is that the runway was simply beautiful. I think this is the best she has ever looked on that runway. There is nothing wrong with it. I cannot find a single flaw. The only thing that I can tell is that it didn't scream pockets. They were right. It didn't scream pockets. But other than that, she is easily the best looking queen on that runway tonight. All in all, she deserved a bottom placement, without any doubt. Let's go back to the chat. I see a couple of comments. Olin said, Gigi and Trixie said during the pit stop that maybe Olivia's dress wasn't for this challenge, that maybe she already used her pocket challenge before. This is interesting. This is interesting. And Jack, I liked her look, but it wasn't really something where you could say, I know what the theme is for this look. Exactly. Exactly. You cannot really say that it was about pockets. So maybe she really did use her pocket look for something else. I cannot, at the top of my mind, I cannot think about anything. But if she really tried to sell this outfit as pockets, she didn't do that much of a bad job when you think about it, because she had pockets. She just had to explain where they were. So I don't know about that, but it didn't scream pockets. That's it. And she's not the first one to miss the mark on the runway, but she's Olivia. She has to go home. So she missed the mark, it will be counted. It will be counted in her judging. David says, I died when Olivia took a while to name. Oh, we're going to go to that. No worries. We're going to go to that after the critiques and after Untucked, because we have still to go through Untucked. So we have to push through. Moving on. Next up is Rosé. And to Rosé, they said that she rose to the occasion, she was fun, she had great physical comedy, she was very prepared, professional, an excellent actor. And I'm like, yes, don't push it too far. Don't push it too far. She was good. But going to say excellent actor is a little bit too far. You know, on RuPaul's Drag Race, the bar is being better than RuPaul, which is not a very high bar to begin with. And she was a pleasure and a joy to work with, which doesn't say much about her performance, but I'm going to take it. That's okay, I'm going to take it. The runway, they said it was fun, whatever it means. They loved the hair, she had shape and proportions, and no, she didn't really have proportions. Come on. She didn't have proportions. They loved it. Somebody said it's my wet dream, and I don't even want to think about it. And her outfit was the best she ever wore, which, yes, I agree with it. And of course, the best critiques from our panel of judges is she was doing what she's supposed to do, which is a favorite from this panel of judges. What does it mean? What does it mean? We, at least once in every episode, we have somebody saying she was doing exactly what she's supposed to do. Come on, you can do better than that. You have people giving you suggestions through that earpiece. Come on. She was doing exactly what she was supposed to be doing. Anyway, I agree with almost everything about this. The outfit was really good. I was not exactly blown away, but it did scream pockets, and there was no shape to it. She looked like a triangle, you know? She looked like a triangle. Not blown away, no. But her performance was incredible. She was, without a doubt, she was the best in that damn challenge. And she deserved to win for this challenge. Next up is Candy Muse. And to Candy, they say her acting was a delight. But she was just being Candy, and she could have gone further. And this is why they kept pushing her. You know what they mean when they say this is why they kept pushing her? Do you remember the slide that I showed you before? When they were like, Candy, scream more, Candy, scream more. They are saying they are rewriting the narrative as if that moment was them pushing Candy. And I was like, no, it was for shits and giggles. That's what it was. I don't know what went wrong in the editing room, because there is a huge mismatch in the narrative that they're trying to push, because in the beginning it was for giggles, but now it was the judges trying to push Candy to get more. And you see, this is a prime example of how the narrative can quickly shift depending on what we are shown and how we are shown it. But I do agree with them. I do agree with everything except the fact that she was a delight. I don't like Candy Muse's acting. I don't think it's believable. I think it's stiff. And it's Candy. When I see Candy Muse acting, I don't see a character. I see Candy. And not because I am in love with Candy and I see her everywhere. But it's because she brings no characterization whatsoever. So it was not really a delight for me. But at least it wasn't painful to watch. At least it wasn't painful to watch. You could see that she put some effort in doing it, and it was somewhat believable. Again, if you don't know who Candy is, her acting was perfectly acceptable. Now, to the runway. They said that it was hard to read a runway. Look how nice they were. That it didn't work, it was ill-fitting, the M is off, it was sloppy, it was not elevated enough, it doesn't work, and it wasn't good even in that abstract fashion way. They are throwing Candy Muse completely under the bus. If you read those critiques and see her previous runway, you can basically use these critiques for every runway from Candy, because it looks like Candy didn't really have a budget to prepare for Drag Race. She did the best she could with whatever she had. But the point is, everybody else got the money to come on Drag Race, either because they asked for help, either because they got a loan, maybe they mortgaged their house. You cannot come on Drag Race looking like that. That's as simple as it is. Whatever that thing is that she is wearing, that's... I don't even have the fluency to describe how I feel about it. It was awful. It was awful. There is nothing to say about it. It was just awful. And one thing that the judges didn't say was about that damn wig. While I do like the way the cut is styled with longer hair on one side and shorter on the other, and I do love the color, it's a flat wig. This is, I don't know if it's the third or fourth time that we see the same thing. If you are a big girl, flat wigs are not your friend. You know who are your friends? Big wigs, big hair, because it's about proportion. You put this is really drag 101. If you put such a flat wig on your head, your face is going to look bloated. You are a big girl, you need to go for big hair. That's one of those that's one of those feedback that I would have expected this panel of judges to actually give to Candy. Because after all, she has to be in the bottom this episode, so anything goes. Then give her an actual critique that she can use to become better at doing drag. That flat wig, you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember that woman that did an audition for one of this singing show with Simon Cowell? The one that she sang My Sugar Waltz. Does anybody know that? It's a little bit of a dated reference, but that's what I was thinking. The hair is flat, it looks wet, it looks sticky. It was, oh my god. Oh my god. My god. Daniel Harris says the second part of Lala Ree's bag look. Yes, we are in the same territory. The difference is that Candy probably paid for this. Lala made her outfit by herself with whatever material she had at hand at the moment. Gothboy UK, plus her makeup closely looked like multicolored man juice splattered everywhere. It made no sense. I don't know, the makeup wasn't that bad for me. She blended, the color looked nice, they fit the color palette that she is serving with that thing that she is wearing. It wasn't really the worst she has ever looked. The makeup was okay, it's not the problem. When you have such an awful outfit, you don't even have time to think about the makeup because it's such a huge contrast. It's such a huge contrast that I'm like, what the hell, Candy? Couldn't you ask for a hand? Couldn't you ask for a loan? Couldn't you ask for something? I mean, of course, they don't know when they have to serve which runway. It's not like they go to them and tell them, listen, in episode 8, you will have this runway. They don't know it. So for all that she knows, she could have been one of the first runways. But you don't come with that. You don't come with that. That's as simple as it gets. Only because of that, she deserved to go home. Now, next up, we have Gottmik. Where is Gottmik? Where is Gottmik? Oh, damn. I lost Gottmik's... I lost Gottmik's image. I prepared it. I swear I prepared it. Wait a moment, because we also need to see Gottmik. So that image has to be there. So give me just a second, because it's here. It's just a matter of finding it. You know, I was probably so shocked by having to go through Candy's outfit that after that I completely forgot about Gottmik. But I made it. I swear I made it. Give me a second because it's here. I need to save it. Meanwhile, let's go through the chat. Blazing Bard says, the runway was strangely similar to the bag ball look, don't you think? Conspiracy? More like lack of creativity. As you know, it looks like our good friends at World of Wonder are more concerned with pocketing money than actually creating a good show. So I can understand why something like that happened. Gottmik, where are you? Oh, here we go. Let me save it. This is so unprofessional. Let's have a little bit of liquid energy. Okay, here we are. Here we are. I told you I prepared it. I just forgot to save it. Jules says, when you find the pictures of Gottmik, you see Inspector Gadget, right? She looks very good, but I see Inspector Gadget. No, it's a cultural reference. It's a cultural reference of can I say this? Well, let's try. Let's see what happens. It's basically the naked man in the street wearing only his long jacket and then opening up to people. You know, it's an old reference. It's an old reference. Ivan says. Cool it with the energy drinks. That's a lot of sugar, my man. It's sugar-free. It is sugar-free. So, Gottmik. What did they say about Gottmik? She was always the same character. That's interesting. But at least she had peaks and valleys. And I was like, Carlson, what the hell are you bouncing on? There were no peaks and valleys in Gottmik's performance. She was the same character. She was one note like everybody else but Rosé. So what the hell are you talking about? And then they say that her physical acting sold it, which I will agree with, and that she has comedic timing. I will agree with that as well, as we've seen in the roast as well. So, the runway was fun, was fashion, she has a sense of humor, she executed it perfectly, it's a cultural reference, she is creative, inventive, spectacular, brilliant, glamorous. They are eating her up from top to bottom, which I completely agree with. I think she really was the best on this runway. And even though I loved Olivia's outfit, I think that Gottmik's outfit actually told a story while also reading as pockets. And whatever she's wearing, it's made of watches. It was really good. There is nothing you can say about it. If anything, I was expecting more on Gottmik's makeup because she's shown incredible things on the runway, so we got used to incredible things. And that makeup looked a little bit too simple for Gottmik, but it still looks really good. She was definitely the best on that runway. So for me, by the end of the day, even though the performance was one note, everybody else was basically one note. So being the best on the runway, she deserved a high position. Minimum. Not a win, so no minimum. She deserved a high position. Not a win because it's an acting challenge and, you know, Rosé was there. So what can you do? But she looked great. And I agree on the fact that all this outfit was fun because it is a cultural reference. So if you don't know it, check it out. Now, after this, they asked the queens, who should go home tonight? And of course, it's time to shit a little bit more on Olivia, because we didn't shit on Olivia enough during this episode. So let's shit on Olivia a little bit more. When they ask Olivia who should go home, everybody, judges including, are bitch-facing. Everybody is bitch-facing to Olivia. They are already setting the mood. And if that's not enough, we have like 30 seconds of the most uncomfortable moment on that runway with Olivia completely silent. Olivia is completely silent. After feeling her Scarlet Envy's fantasy, she becomes completely silent. And to be perfectly honest, I thought she was desperately trying to squeeze a tear without much of a success doing it. That's how it looked to me. I'm sorry, Olivia, I know how it sounds, but that's what it looked like to me. It was like she was desperately trying to cry without managing to do it. So, you know, there was no real need for all of this bitch facing going around, and even a confessional from Gottmik throwing Olivia under the bus, when, you know, whoever has a pair of eyes can see that, yeah, she's trying to cry and it's not working. And that would have been completely enough. But, you know, we have to take a dump on Olivia this episode, so anything goes. And, of course, we are not done. We are not done with Olivia. There will be more. David says, like Hurlia said, I died when Rosé took seconds to say Olivia's name after her struggling to say someone for 2 hours. Well, everybody said Olivia, but by this point, who else are they supposed to say? Because they know that Candy Muse has a storyline. All of them have seen Candy Muse winning a challenge without being the best at it, Candy Muse skating through the competition, Candy Muse winning lip syncs without knowing the words. They are not stupid. Sorry, I need to take a moment to give my little one the antibiotics. So I'll be back in really 1 minute. I will leave you a little bit of a music, and then we go back to finish this review. Okay, and we're back. From the chat, John Young, next episode, bye-bye Candy. We'll talk about it in the speculations. Beverly, knowing New York City, I saw Gottmik at the Times Square. Guys who open up their jacket selling fake Rolex. Yes, that was the reference. And of course, on top of that reference, there is the naked man under the coat joke, which is a cultural reference as well. It was actually a joke. So let's move on to everybody shitting on Olivia, because why not? Here we are. So while Olivia is struggling to squeeze a tear and actually saying a name, everybody else is bitch-facing. Gottmik is calling her out during a confessional. And in all of this, we have a relatable moment with our hero Simone, because, why not elevate Simone a little bit more? So we see that Simone removed her shoes on the runway, and she's not the first queen to remove her shoes on the runway. Somebody on Discord actually shared a picture of Rosé removing her shoes as well, so it's a pretty common thing to do. And if you know, RuPaul even goes allegedly, well, not allegedly, she said it, RuPaul puts on her pajama pants when she is done with the runway, so it's a pretty common thing. But of course it's Simone, so if we can use it for making her a little bit more relatable, why not? Because after all, she is the hero. So, relatable hero, takes off the shoes are painful, ha ha ha, shoes are painful for me as well, and whatever. So, after the critiques, after this relatable moment, it's time to dive into Untucked. And of course, Untucked is another perfect opportunity to take another dump on Olivia Lux, because we didn't throw her under the bus enough. We need to double down a little bit more. It wasn't enough. So we have this surreal moment in which Simone is trying to push a little bit of a narrative. She goes to Olivia and she said, "Well, Olivia, I have a feeling that you are holding back. I don't know if it's anger or sadness." And I'm like, Simone, what the hell? I mean, I can appreciate what you are doing on a competitive level, but come on. I mean, come on. So Olivia explains herself by saying, no, it's not anger. It's a sadness because of this situation, and I came here to explore. The moment she uses the word explore, Rosé immediately burns her by saying, yes, it's all nice and good that you came here to explore, but nobody else came here to explore. So it's like she is saying, you are one step down compared to everybody else because you want to explore. You should be sure of yourself, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And can I be blunt with you? I will not add this in the episode. It's just for the live stream. If I can be blunt with you, the gut impression that I got of this top 5 is that all of them, Olivia included, they look like a bunch of lions. And really a bunch of bullies, ready to bully themselves under the disguise of a nice face, while smiling at the camera, while measuring each and every word, because by the end of the day, what's matter is staying on camera for as long as possible, because that is directly proportional to the amount of money that they will make after they go off from Drag Race. All of them, no one excluded. Because if you go beyond the edit and actually judge what you can see uninterrupted in that exact frame, there are things that go beyond, go not really beyond context, but the context becomes almost not necessary anymore. And I'm like thinking, you are all really good at this game. I mean, in a way, I respect the hell out of that, because that's the game that's being played there. But it's not a good look on the human level, especially because most of them are trying to push this message of we're all sisters, we all love each other, we are all supporting, and I'm like, no, that's what you have to say for the camera. What I am seeing when I try to go beyond that, it's something that it's not a cute look. This is what I'm seeing. I don't know if any of you agree with it. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion. I don't know if it's a feeling that everybody else is having. But it doesn't look... there is something when they keep saying, oh, we're sisters, and we have, 12 regular seasons and 5 all-star seasons before of this, especially in the very early season, up until I think season 7, up until season 8, they didn't have this thing of going on camera like every episode. Oh, we are meeting amazing sisters. Oh, we are a family. Oh, we are this. Oh, there was none of that bullshit. And I'm not criticizing the fact that maybe, you know, you are in that difficult situation, you invested a lot of money, it's really stressful, it's easier to bond when you are in those kind of situations. But in this season, I will probably have to make a supercut of every time they talk about sisterhood. It will be like the supercut of everybody crying for what was it, season 11, when we did the video for the evolution of RuPaul's Drag Race, where it's basically RuPaul's crying race, because people are not noticing this. And when you push and push and push and push, I start thinking it has to be disingenuous. This is not normal. It's like Olivia's laughing and smiling all of the time. There is something behind it. We can discuss about what it is, but clearly there is something behind it. John Young, we all know Denali is the real winner of this season. Well, that is debatable. For me, it was a double crowning. Let's not forget that Mama Tamisha belongs right in there with Denali, possibly holding hands and possibly with their raised fist. It's meant to be a good thing. I don't know if it's sounding like a sexual thing, but you know what I mean. Goth by UK definitely feels like a group of queen bees who will sting each other in the back without a thought, but only if nobody will know. Exactly. That's the feeling that I got exactly. We've seen it from Simone. We've seen it from Rosé. We have seen it from Candy. We have seen it from Olivia, just to mention. And the only one that doesn't give me this strong vibe, it's Gottmik. But Gottmik is still going along with everybody else, which is not, it's not better. It's less bad, it's less worse, but it's not better. Jules says, Bandela Cram tried to say on Twitter how kind and sisterly they were with each other, but Elliot responded with, I wish that was true, and I agree with Elliot. I agree. Antonina, yeah, it's sad how production influenced Quinn's behavior too. I mean, season 12, it seemed friendlier. It seemed natural too. Not just friendlier, it seemed natural. Because, you know, you can say to my face over and over and over again how much bonded you are with these people, how much you feel a feeling of sisterhood and so on. But, you know, human behavior is so wonderfully complex in every little things that you cannot keep all of that under control. So, you know, maybe an expert can tell you exactly what is giving them away, but for all of us common mortals, I can tell you it gives this strong gut feelings that there is something wrong behind it, that it's not exactly how it looks. I mean, in a way, I repeat, in a way, I respect what they're doing, because by the end of the day, they invested a ton of money into this. They will have to make their money back, otherwise they are not able to pay their bills. But for fuck's sake, at least don't stay there pushing this message over and over and over again, because you look like an hypocrite. Now, end of my rant, end of my TED talk for this live stream. Let's go back to talking. Let's go back to the review. Now, of course, throwing Olivia under the bus is not enough. What happened in the chat? What happened in the chat? Fantasia, what happened? Did somebody try to put spoilers? Was that something that you missed? Meanwhile, EMI says, cancel culture is another reason why they're all fake nice and play a character when the cameras are rolling. Oh, yes. Yes, I forgot to mention that. People are completely crazy online. That's one of the reasons. Still, you know, Tamisha didn't need to push that kind of message over and over and over again, even when it felt like unnecessary that it was thrown in there, and cancel culture didn't come for her. So Fantasia, no, sorry, I can take it back. Okay, wait a moment. No. Okay, it was 2 comments. One from Andrea Mesa saying the favoritism with Gottmik is surreal. I have to agree on that. And another one from Viatori saying the producers have created that environment. No one wants the villain at it. You deserve something for that because, you know, that's exactly true. That's exactly what I think as well. This kind of environment was fostered. Corinne, what did you think of the video message from Olivia's family? We are going to get there once I'm finished with my TED Talk. We're going to get there. Now, after seeing Simone throwing a little bit of shade at Olivia, a little bit of passive-aggressive shade at Olivia, after seeing Rosé burning Olivia, of course, the editors had to double down. So we have this surreal moment in which we see Olivia's family reenact their video message for Olivia. And everybody is laughing. Everybody is like, oh, look, they are as much divas as Olivia. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? All of them that record a message for these queens, they refilm it over and over and over again. It's even stitched together, but when you switch cameras, you don't realize that's actually a hard cut in their message. They do it for everyone. But of course, it's Olivia. Olivia has to go home, and every chance is appropriate to take a dump on Olivia. And her family, of course, which makes them look disingenuous as Olivia, which is part of her storyline. You know, she's the one who is constantly smiling and then being a saboteur when nobody is really looking. She's the diva. So, of course, this storyline carries on into her own family. And they laugh about it, they play it nice about it, but people from home are going to get another confirmation of the fact that she is disingenuous. And I'm thinking, yes, of course, I believe she is disingenuous. I believe all of them are disingenuous, except a couple of exceptions. But it basically ends up there. And after this, we reach the lowest point that this show has ever gotten, in my opinion. Now, why was this moment so bad? Well, from the way it was presented and edited, it fostered... how can I say it? It fostered a conversation that was toxic. That's plain and simple. Because online, people, the only thing they're talking about is, oh, was Candy faking it? Was it real? Was it not real? Did she do it to gain something? Or was she really feeling that bad? And this is the only conversation that people have had online since this episode has gone on. Now, you have to understand one thing. I don't give a shit if it was real or if it was fake, because that's not the point. The point is, when somebody comes to you and saying that she has those kind of physical symptoms, it doesn't matter your opinion. It's not a matter of opinion. It's about a matter of giving care. And many of you might not know this, but the symptoms of panic attacks are really similar to other life-threatening situations. So you need to go to a hospital. You need to get checked. That thing that we've been shown over and over and over again, it doesn't help you in differentiate if she is in a life-threatening situation or she's having a panic attack. And it doesn't even educate the public in understanding how to make the difference. It looks like all of these things were there for milking the situation, were there for drama. What happens when you have people that feel like that? They need to go to the hospital. Point blank. I don't care if you think it's fake. I don't care if you think it's done for a reason. That's not the point. As an external person, your job is to deliver care. At the end of the day, if these people are being disingenuous, they are the piece of shit, not you. So it's disgraceful that the only thing people have been talking online is, oh, was it fake? Was it not fake? It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Now, I want to thank Grover for sending us a link to a live that Candy actually made for explaining this situation, in which she actually said that the production offered to carry her to a hospital where she can be actually checked to see what's really going on and if she should be worried or she should be given more care. And she refused, which is completely in her right to do. Medical care is not something that is forced on people. You can always refuse it. So she decided to stay there. She explained that this whole scene lasted for this whole situation lasted for I think she said a couple of hours while she was recovering it, because the problem was that this was still during the lockdown. So if she went to the hospital, she wouldn't have been allowed to come back to the competition. She would have been eliminated. Now, I'm not here to judge if she was being reckless with her health or not. It's her choice, and it's her right to make her own choices. And that is something that you cannot take away from anybody. With that said, whoever was in charge of the editing for this segment completely fucked it up, because if I didn't know about that live, my only thought about this whole thing was, what the fuck is happening? Why nobody is taking an ECG of Candy Muse and see what the fuck is going on and if she's really in danger, instead of this portable bullshit that we're shown over and over and over again? It's not a good look on the show. People are talking and talking and talking about Candy, but for me, it's not a good look on the show. Point blank. And you know that I love to criticize Candy for many different things, but at the end of the day, she's still a fucking human, and she deserves to be treated like a fucking human. Now, point done. Moving on from this, back to the main stage. Rosé wins, and deservingly so, and she celebrates with a temporal incursion with our usual spiky hair Rosé. You thought we wouldn't see her. I thought we wouldn't see her, but she has been on a strike. She has been in every episode talking about the actual episode, because, you know, they can take snippets and just stitch them everywhere. No, don't get it wrong. Whenever she appears in an episode, she is almost always referring to the actual episode. How long is this strike? I think we're getting like 10 episodes in a row or something like that. Blazing Bard, Spiky Hair Rosé is the real winner of this season. I think there's also something going on with Gottmik, but for the love of me, I've been late with this damn videos and reviews, so I didn't do the confessional chart for the last 3 episodes. I didn't take the frame images, I just went by memory, but I'm pretty sure there's something going on with Gottmik, because I've seen that haircut not a couple of times, like half a dozen of times already. So at some point we're going to do a look back to the season and show all of these things, including Elliot's confessionals, in which she was time traveling, because I promised you to show it to you, and in the end it never happened. So we're going to have that as well. And after this, we are to the actual lip sync. So it's Olivia versus Candy. Now, the choice for the song is curious, because it's Strong Enough by Cher. And thankfully, Denali is coming to tell us what she thinks about the choice of a song this episode by going, it's almost like Strong Enough should have been for a disco week, huh? And I'm like, yes, Denali, it really makes you think. It really makes you think. But it's nothing new. It's nothing new. We've been saying this kind of things for the whole season. What is the difference? The difference is that I am a nobody. She was on the show. So the moment Denali comes out and says, oh, it's almost like this was for the disco week, it's a totally different impact. And I'm happy that queens are starting to speak out, because, you know, World of Wonder cannot fuck all of them at once because they speak out. What happened to Max? What happened to Pearl? It cannot happen to all of the queens, because otherwise they have no queens left. So all of them can dish out a little bit of tea, a little bit at the time, as long as all of them do it. So I hope that going forward, this is something that we get more of, because World of Wonder has been getting crazy with the bullshit on this show, on every level. And it's mostly disrespectful to the queens who spend money to be on the show, who put their career and livelihood to be on the line to be on the show. And it's disrespectful to us, the viewers. So props to Denali and keep it up. She's been really keeping it real on Instagram and Twitter, if you know what I mean. Now, did you like the lip sync? So and so. It was a good song. I like the song, but I think Olivia really did better than Candy. Now, should we take what happened to Candy into account? Yes and no. That really depends on how you watch this show and which kind of not priorities, but which kind of sensitivity you want to have relating to the show, because I can accept that you take it into account or not taking into account. Personally, I try to be objective and just judge the performance for what I see. And what I see was that Olivia did a fantastic job. There was simply no comparison with Candy. Of course, it doesn't help that Candy lip-synced 3 times already. So we already seen her, we know what she does on the stage, and it's getting boring. That's just how it's getting boring. On a side note, this time she knew the words, which was refreshing. You have to imagine the moment. It's me and Mr. Invisible on the table watching this lip sync, and me rolling back the lip sync to check Candy's lips, and he was like, oh yes, yes. Of course. But Candy did know the words for this song. Of course, if you don't know the words to Strong Enough by Cher, you should go home immediately. There is no excuse for that. EMI says, have you noticed other countries' drag race queens are less afraid of speaking out? For UK Season 2, many queens talked openly about things not included in the edit, like there is no NDA. From what Beatrice found out on Discord, and there is a link for it, it looks like the kind of contracts that they have in the UK are much more balanced in comparison to the US contract. For example, in one of the guidelines for the BBC is that they cannot misrepresent what's happening on screen. What does it mean? They cannot take something that you said referring to a person and then stitch it together so that it looks like you're referring at somebody else. So the fact that you have a production team that is forced to stick to these guidelines also leaves the queens a little bit more open to really be themselves, because it's not like they can throw them under the bus completely by stitching words together, taking moments happened ages later, filming tons of confessionals after the whole show is filmed so that what you say can be used to push storylines. It's a different set. But of course, it happens because there is a huge change on top. What we are getting right now on Drag Race US, it's exactly because we have the producers we have that keep the queens under the contract they have. There is no other reason. The queens are just getting along with it. Joel says, my daughter watched this with me and thought Gottmik and Simone were the best. She really liked Olivia as well. Bear in mind, she's 8 years old. Still, she enjoys the lip sync and wanted Liv. That's nice. Be sure, please be sure. If you're bringing in younger viewers, be sure that you watch it together. Because there are some things about this show and this show in general that I don't think it's appropriate for anybody under the age of 20. It's so manipulative and in some instances so attached to our culture, which is, like it or not, it's a very sexualized culture in a good way, but still it's not, I don't think drag is really that appropriate for younger viewers. But of course, it's Drag Race, so it's been sanitized a lot. But still, you know, be sure that you are there to discuss things together, that there is a little bit of contest to it. Phoenix Rising says, I hope all the bullshit comes out at the reunion and the clique as to own up for their bullshit. I hope as well. I hope as well. Now, what do we have after all of this? Let's move on to our final speculations, and then we're going to take a pause and have a cigarette. Oh my god, yes! Yes! So, final speculations. We have in our top 4, Gottmik, Candy Muse, Rosé, and Simone. Now, people are speculating that somebody might go home that episode. Somebody might go home next episode, and we will end up with the top 3. I don't think that's going to happen, for one simple reason. In business, the first rule that you have to obey is never change something that works. You simply never do that. And the final 4 lip sync battle, it's something that works amazing in Drag Race. They introduced that change back in season 9, and it's been there ever since. Didn't happen last season, but also remember, one contestant got disqualified. It's not like they chose to have a top 3 three-way lip sync. And even considering they only had a top 3, they still had each queen lip syncs twice. Why? Because lip syncs are one of the best assets of this show. And the final 4 lip sync battle is one of the best format for deciding the winner of this show. They know it. The marketing research knows it. We as the fan know it. Nobody's going to get eliminated next episode. There is no way they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. What's probably going to happen is that they will just have a final 4. They will make the music video like they said in the preview, and maybe somebody will get one more win, and that's it. And that's it. They're not giving up the finale. I'm pretty sure that they are not happy about not having this kind of format for last season because of what happened with Redacted. So I think there is no chance that anybody is going home next episode. Now, with that said, who is going to be the winner? Now, who decides? Oh, yes, let's hear it from the chat while I go to the fridge and get a little bit more liquid energy. Who do you think decides the winner? Like, honestly, who do you honestly think decides the winner? If you need to put in a little bit more of a thought out comments, put it out, because I'm going to go through the comments before I tell you what I actually think. So see you in a second. Here we are. San, Rachel, and Sasha says the producers. Candy Box says Simone will decide the winner. That would be refreshing. That would be refreshing. Jamberti, producers. Where are the other comments? Valentine, the producers, and a little bit of RuPaul. Well, RuPaul is part of the production team, so it's still producers. Jessica, producers decides and take the public reaction into consideration. Getting there. Jules, RuPaul. Nora, RuPaul probably listens to the other producers. Karina, I think producers decides as we saw on Drag Race. James Young, RuPaul's Sloth will decide the winner. Carrie, the executive producers. We are getting closer and closer. Jessica, also Ru is one of the producers, of course. Nicholas, Wow Presents. We are getting closer and closer and closer because the producers at World of Wonder, they are the executive producers. This is getting interesting. Blazing Bard, marketing decides the winner. I'm convinced it's going to be Rosé, looking back at the edits and the amount of lip syncs, but you can never be sure. That's part of the equation. Well said. Ivan, sorry, the chat skipped. Public reaction and the producers. EMI, Candy cannot win. Oh, Gothboy UK, whoever is paying for the show decides the winner based on public reaction. Guys, I'm really proud of all of you and your answers. Orlin says, production. After all the shit with RuPaul and trans community, they are going to redeem themselves and make Gottmik win. That's incredible. That's incredible. M. Croft, VH1 marketing direct. Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys are absolutely the best. You guys are absolutely the best. That's fantastic. That is great. So, we don't decide who the winner is, and the lip sync does not decide who the winner is. The winner will be decided from World of Wonder and VH1. Based on what? Based on their marketing research. Our reaction are part of the marketing research, they are part of the equation, but trust and believe they are not big enough to shift the equation. What really matters is what their marketing research says. And since World of Wonder are the ones who have these queens under contract, how much money they can squeeze out of the possible winner based on the lovely clauses that they probably have in that contract. And I am legally obliged to say the word probably. So, it's going to have to be a concert between World of Wonder, not a concert, that's the wrong word. It's going to have to be an agreement between World of Wonder and VH1. Now, if you remember what happened last season with that shit ton of bad PR that we had with Gigi Good when she allegedly broke lockdown to go filming with none other than Jeffree Star, while VH1 was pushing the campaign alone together to stay at home. They really embraced this thing of respecting lockdown, and they kept advertising and advertising on the network. So the fact that you have your front runner with 4 wins allegedly going out for filming, it's not a good look on the network, is it? So a lot of things are taken into account to actually decide who it is. What do I think is going to happen? I think, and I agree, I don't remember which one on the who in the chat said it, they need to redeem themselves. Because it was not a good look what happened last season. And VH1 is not going to risk the same thing over again. I don't know how much power they actually have over World of Wonder, but at least what it's not up for discussion is the fact that they have some power. So based on that and only that, I don't think there's any chance in the world that Candy Muse will ever win RuPaul's Drag Race. It doesn't matter which kind of edit she had, which kind of storyline she had. Nobody on VH1 will look at Candy Muse's public persona over the years and think that's the image that I want to be associated with. Because let's not forget, this is not about entertainment from their point of view. It's about money. And Candy Muse is not a good look when you have to associate it with your image. Think about what happened with Gigi Good last season and think about everything that went on with Candy Muse. It's not going to happen. Point blank. She had a good run. I'm sure this will help her career. I'm not sure how much it will actually help her growth. Nevertheless, good for her. Good for all of them for making it this far and have a return on their investment. But with that said, there is no chance in hell that Candy Muse will be chosen to represent the brand, the network, or the production company. Now, who are we left with? Well, we are left with three queens, which are Gottmik, Rosé, and Simone. Now, since one of the most important thing for this season is to redeem their image based on what happened the year before and all that happened last year, I don't think they are ever going to choose Rosé. I don't see. She is professional. She did great. But remember, the winner is not about talent. It's not about likability. It's not about storyline. It's about marketing. Plain and simple. And even though Rosé is a personality, what convinces me that they are not going to go with Rosé. It's just that from a social justice perspective, and this is exactly the terms in which they probably reason in their marketing department, Gottmik and Simone are just more appealing than Rosé. Because one is a trans man, the other one is a black man. They are much more worthy of woke points than Rosé. And let's not forget that since the very beginning of this series of review, I told you, look out, because I think that the producers tried to trigger Rosé from the very beginning, over and over and over and over again, to the point in which I even believed that they probably went with one edit and then somehow they had to change it. If World of Wonder had to change it, the only other possible entity that could have come on and said, change it, must have been VH1. So if you are in that situation, trust and believe, you are probably not really wanting to elevate this person, because let's face it, if this is what happened, Rosé fucked them over. She royally fucked them over, and I'm going to give her props for this. Nevertheless, I don't think she's a huge favorite on World of Wonder's side. So in all, we are left with Gottmik and Simone. Personally, I like to think that VH1, being part of the Viacom CBS corporation, I like to go with experience, and I believe that they are a soulless conglomerate who doesn't give a shit about anything and anyone apart from their monetary income. So I think they're going to go for Gottmik simply because Gottmik is white, and I trust and believe that they are really looking forward to stop elevating black contestants, and under the excuse that she's also a trans man, they have perfect plausible deniability. So for me, Gottmik is going to win this season. I told you at the very beginning of when we did the pre-show, before we even had the first episode, and this is what I'm sticking with. Then with that said, each and every one of us as someone who we are actually rooting for. And I was actually rooting for someone that's not on this list. So I have to go for the less of four evils, not because, it's a figure of speech. So I'm going to go with Gottmik as well. It's a little bit of personal preference, just based on the fact that she was the most chill out of all of them. Now, Blazing Bard says, I've seen a lot of polls about who should win. Rosé always had like 45% or more. I would be really, really surprised if they go for Rosé, because I can see the appeal for VH1. I cannot see the appeal for World of Wonder. We'll have to see in the end of the day who will actually get there. But when you look at this old top three, it screams wokeness to me. So based on that and that alone and my gut feelings, and I'm sorry because I think that Rosé is the best well-rounded contestant that's left in this top four. She has a little bit of a questionable sense of fashion, but the makeup is not bad. She can act, she can sing, she can dance. She might not excel in one specific category the same way Gottmik excels for makeup, for example, or Simone when she's on that runway. But she's the best rounded contestant. So if it goes by simple merit, I completely agree. Rosé, it's probably the most deserving in there. Independently of the edit, independently of the wins, independently of all of those things that don't really count for me. What counts is the raw talent that I get to see on the show. So for me, she's the best rounded one out of the bunch. But, you know, it is how it is. EMI asks, who is winning Miss Congeniality? Well, the queens are voting, not we. If we would be voting, I would say it's going to be a battle between Denali, Mama Tamisha, and Joey J. We didn't see enough of Kimora to actually, you know, ever there. I think this would be the real choices, because don't forget, the public was exposed to the storyline of Olivia being basically full of shit. So they're not going to vote her. But fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you're looking at this situation, the queens are voting. So based on that video that they put out ages ago on the Drag Race channel, I think it's going to be Olivia. That video was basically screaming, Miss Congeniality is Olivia. Now, I see another couple of questions. I will go to those questions after the pause. Let's take a little bit of a pause because I really need to go smoke a cigarette. And I think a lot of you need that as well. So let's take 3 or 4 minutes. I will leave you with some music and then I go back to the questions. But first, let me write down the timestamp so that I don't lose your questions. Okay, there we go. See you in 5 minutes. And we're back. Now let me remove a couple of things so I can see better. Okay, there we go. So Daniel asked, do you have guesses to what Rosé original edit would have been? I'm so curious. I thought she was going to be the villain. The real villain of the season. The one that maybe, yes, would have gone to the top 4, but definitely a villain. There was too much going on between having Olivia, which is someone that she actually judged in a contest, beating her in the first lip sync, and with Tina Burner as well. And as we know, it doesn't look like they really like each other. So, yes, I think she originally was planned to be a villain. Or at least that villain components to her edit. Next question. Yuri says, Rosé winning would be the funniest winner because production tried to make her a villain, but she became fan favorite. Oh yes, in the Discord, link in the description. I said that Candy Muse would probably be the best representative for this season because it was a complete train wreck. And when you look at the show from this perspective, then it was kind of entertaining seeing going down completely downhill. Which is, you know, Candy Muse is messy on social media. That's what she's known for, and she is milking the hell out of it. So props to her. For doing the best with what she has, but she would be the best representative for this season that it's been going on for 3 months already. 3 months. All in all, we're probably going to be in this for, I don't know, all of April as well. It's going to be 4 months long because we're going to have next episode. Maybe we'll have a throwback. Then we will have the reunion. Then we will have the final 4. I don't know if we will go until May with this season, but you know, for a season that was written this badly and overproduced this much, 4 months, 3 months is already too much. 4 months is unbelievable. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. When they have so many spin-offs, so many things that they could do. There has been speculation of an all-winner season. We have All-Stars coming. There has been a speculation of an international drag race, All-Star season of Drag Race. It's not like there is a lack of entertainment when it comes to the Drag Race brand. There was no need to drag this season along for this much. At all. At all. Phoenix says, I want to know if Utica and Olivia are still dating. I don't think they are dating. I think that they are doing what everybody else is doing. Like pretend that something is happening because it makes people talk. It's publicity. It's just publicity. So no, I don't think so. And think about it for a moment. Building a relationship, starting a relationship, it's such a delicate moment in people's lives that at that point, when you reach that age, you realize that in the very beginning, anything can destroy what you have built because you didn't actually have time to build that much in a short time. So what I noticed is that in general, people tend to be very private when it comes to the beginning of a relationship, especially if they are public figures. So no, I don't believe they're dating at all. I think it's a publicity stunt. Blazing Bard, good comment. Do you realize we never had this contestants relationship in earlier seasons, or at least they weren't exposed for, well, exposure? Completely agree. I completely agree. Antonina says, I didn't get it. Why would Viacom CBS want to stop elevating black contestants and not choose Simone as the winner? I don't know much about Viacom CBS, so maybe I am missing something. Yes, you are missing something. There used to be a time in which this company was a whole. Then it was split into different companies. We had the Viacom company and the CBS company, who owned Paramount. Last year, they re-merged again because financially they were not doing very well at all. At least that's what the stock market is saying, and that's what everybody is speculating for. So they re-merged, they rebranded their streaming service from CBS All Access to Paramount Plus. And you know, when you do a rebranding of that caliber, it's not because things are going well. When you rebrand, it's because you need to relaunch something. And if you need to relaunch something, it means that it didn't go well in the first place. So financially, they're not doing that well. What happens when you are not really when you're not doing that well? Well, in that point, you need to stick to the market. You need to stick to whatever really brings you money. We have had examples in other media. For example, when you think about the franchise that was, what is it called? Oh my God, that brand with Superman, Wonder Woman, and so on and so forth, Justice League. Before they remerged, they actually had this huge-ass movie that bombed at the box office, and the fans kept asking, well, since the director changed, well, I would like to see the original vision of the director, because the original director, I think, a close family member passed. I don't remember if it was the wife, it was the daughter, the son, but he basically had to take a leave. And somebody else finished the movie. So the fans kept asking, I want to see that, I want to see that, I want to see that. And nobody was showing it. The moment they remerged from the parent company that owns the now Viacom CBS was like, okay, if this is what the fans want, let's use that to push the streaming services, because the future is all on streaming. Television is a dying medium. So even if they made it was a bad look. It was a bad look on Paramount, because when this new movie came out, everybody was thinking, oh shit, it looks so much better. They did such an awful job. So they even threw a section of their corporation, which is Paramount, under the bus in order to appeal to the audience, in order to get more subscribers, in order to get money. What is the point at the end of all of this? The point is, when you look at the statistics for who watches RuPaul's Drag Race and the American population in general, the vast majority is white. And this is the point that I want to make. It's not that I think that they are racists or whatever. No, it's about business. It's about making money, and it's about a financial situation that it's not doing that well, and it's not been doing that well for a while. That's why I think when you think of VH1, which is the flag channel when it comes to cable television on Viacom CBS, and you have one show like RuPaul's Drag Race, who, I don't know if you notice, it's going to move to Paramount Plus, and you have that kind of, these are not things that have been decided today. These kind of things are decided years and years in advance. So this, I think, was there is no chance that it wasn't on discussion already last year, and we had that PR nightmare with Gigi Good. At the end of the day, all comes together. So that's why I think we are not going to have Rosé as a winner, if VH1 has anything to say about it. Sorry, Rosé. Simone as a winner, if VH1 has anything to say about it. Of course, it's my opinion. So I hope I got a complete picture of it. Now, next comment. Sorry, I've been very long, but at least I hope I explained myself. Blazing Bard. Do we talk about Redacted on this channel? Because I have a question about her original character on the show. Yes, we talk about it. I try to talk about as little as I can, but this is a live stream. There are 100 people there. It's not going to be on the channel. As you know, the live streams are going to be only on shared, so you have to actually look for them. So it's not that much publicity that we're giving her. So in this context, yes, we can talk about it. Corinne, do you need a break after this season, or are we doing All-Stars? We are doing All-Stars. What I don't know is if I'm going to do videos as well. The live stream will stay because they are the best part of doing this channel. So we will be here for the live stream. There won't be a confessional chart. Things change a little bit for the All-Star season, like it happened with All-Stars 5 compared to season 12 last year. But yes, we will have it. We will be here for that at least. More than that, no, because as you know, we still have to work. This channel is mostly a hobby. It doesn't pay the bills, so I cannot afford to take time off work to actually stay here and review all of the season that come out. Gothboy UK says, VH1 had to cancel a lot of show and live events, so asked Drag Race to fill the gap. Sadly, they chose the worst option by making this everlasting season. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I can see it as a possibility, because when you are in such financial troubling situation, you need to cut costs and you need to invest to what brings you money. And the Drag Race brand brings you a ton of money. Nobody actually really understands that World of Wonder built an empire with RuPaul's Drag Race, an empire that, taking into account merchandise, taking into account television rights, which they own because they only sell to VH1 the US rights, and I think they sell to Out TV Canada the rights for Canada, but everything else is owned by World of Wonder. So it's $1 billion brand. It's a safe option. Phoenix Rising. Art Simone already had a World of Wonder show, so people say Drag Down Under is a fix for her. I don't understand that. Who is Art Simone? Kylustration. I'm confused about the Drag Race target group. They try to be family friendly, cater to a younger audience, but at the same time we have the half-naked pit crew and references to 70s and 60s movies. That's because since they moved to VH1, it's not like World of Wonder can do whatever the hell they want, because, I mean, VH1 is paying good money for the rights to air RuPaul's Drag Race. So, like every company that is paying for a product, they have a saying for it. That's why I think we are in this situation where we are in the middle of nowhere. World of Wonder is trying to push in a direction, VH1 is trying to push in the other, and what we get in the end is a mishmash of the two. One moment, scrolling down the chat. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Fantasia. So, will we be crowning a queen next week or no? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We didn't go through 3 months to have this season and abruptly next episode. No. No. Best case scenario, we are going to give a win to somebody next episode. And we are going to have a reunion one way or the other because that works. And we are going to have a final episode with the lip sync because that works, and that we're going to have. Best case scenario, we're going to have 3 more episodes. Worst case scenario, it's going to be 4. Gothboy UK. World of Wonder were a huge producer for material on the UK TV market in the 90s. Channel 4 was basically World of Wonder TV on a weekend with many hours of programming. They made a lot of films too. I don't know about their past before RuPaul's Drag Race because I came to know the company when I realized they were the producers behind RuPaul's Drag Race. So I am completely ignorant about what happened before. What I can tell you is that RuPaul's Drag Race, the Drag Race brand, is their biggest asset by far. By far. We live in a global economy. You know, when you go to a McDonald's, for example, and you go to a McDonald's, do you realize that all of these independent restaurants, they pay the rights to use the McDonald's name. They pay the rights and they are obliged to keep the same, to keep some things the same. You want your McNuggets to taste the same no matter where you go. The only way to achieve that is to buy them directly from the franchise. And in the case of RuPaul's Drag Race, you are buying the format. You are even buying the sound effects. So, do you understand? When you give a license for a spin-off of Drag Race, you're still making a ton of money out of it, including the power of producing the season. Because when you go to see the end credits on RuPaul's Drag Race UK, you see that some producers in there are from World of Wonder. The vast majority are from the BBC, but some are from World of Wonder. So not only they're taking the money, they are also maintaining the influence. Blazing Bard, you skipped quite a bit of chat, by the way. That's because I didn't see the @top RPDR videos. That's the problem. Otherwise, I miss it. It's not really highlighted, and there are so many comments that I kind of miss them. But I see one. Melanie, are you thinking Chadwick Boseman in Black Panther? That's bad timing with the comments. That's bad timing with the comments, because I was probably talking about something that now I forgot. Oh, here we go. Beverly, why wasn't this highlighted for me? And you say @top RPDR videos. Oh, just wanted to say thank you. I will miss this weekly gets together. Hopefully All Stars is around the corner. There won't be a break. There won't be a break. They will probably do it like they did it last season, one after the other. Sorry, I'll try to keep an eye on the new comments that come in. Sorry if I lost some, but you know, this is a one-man operation. So where was that comment? Oh, Yuri said, could you imagine an All-Stars double crowning with Rosé and Denali winning? Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. But it's nice to fantasize about it. It's nice to fantasize about it. Where are we? Where are we? And you know, this damn chat is not actually helping. There we go. No, false alarm. There we go. Sasha, I don't think we're gonna have a winner of the season next episode. I say that because Simone dropped merchandise with all her wins, and it would be stupid for her to say that she didn't win. I don't know, just guessing. Oh, she did. Oh, she did. You know, I am 99% sure there won't be a winner next episode. So, yeah, I think it was a bad move on Simone. But remind me when we do the next Sunday live streams, so that I can apologize to be wrong or feel my fantasy if I was right. Groover, imagine Tamisha and Denali in the top 4. I don't know. That is debatable. Denali for sure. Tamisha, I don't know, because unfortunately she really comes from a background that it's not really relevant to Drag Race today. Because there used to be a time in which if you are a crafty queen, you would do good on Drag Race. Now it's all about buying things, but is spending money and making a fool of yourself. And she is a lady, you know. When she did that acting challenge, she was funny as hell, but you could see that she was like, well, You know, I'm a poised queen. I am a pageant queen. This is, you know. So I don't know about that. I don't know if she actually had a real chance to go to the top 4. I would have lived for it. I can tell you that much. I would have lived for it. And maybe she would have had versatility. We will never know. We will never know. Blazing Bard. Okay, so we know the edit for season 12 has probably changed a lot. Do you think Redacted might have been our season-long villain? I think so. I am conflicted about it because in a way I think so. It would have made sense seeing everybody else's edit and the fact that we usually always have a villain on the top 4, because this has been a staple of Drag Race since we moved to VH1. We used to have them before as well, but never with the consistency since we actually moved to VH1. So, and excluding season 9, because I thought that for season 9 Eureka was supposed to be the villain on top. So yes, I see that as a possibility. But then I'm also thinking they disqualified that contestant. It's in their best interest to make her look as bad as possible. So if she was really going to be a villain, if she made things that could have been easily portrayed as villainous, why didn't they use it? That is the real question. Now, one of the possibility is because it might have been better for the network to just pretend she wasn't there at all, to just not give her any kind of screen time at all. But it makes sense from our perspective, from the viewer's perspective, to see this person that was disqualified after admitting to do this kind of things. It would have been at least a little bit of karma to ever portrayed as a villain. So I don't really know why they didn't go that route, because there were moments, especially in the Snatch Game Untucked for season 12, in which she was not portrayed well. So why didn't we see more of that? I don't think we will ever know, unless anybody will ever come to this channel and start spilling some major behind the scenes tea. I mean, I would live for it. Groover, did you excuse me? What did you say about my mom? Beverly, I would like to see more suing challenge. Drag on a dime and the like, and didn't continue. But yes, I live for this challenge. I love them. I love them. You know, seeing what they do, seeing being crafty, seeing make the best out of nothing. I think it's much more of an important message to send, that all of this thing like, oh, sisterhood, sisterhood, sisterhood. No, life is mostly about doing the best with what you have. So to see that reflected in the entertainment, I think it's 1,000 times more relatable than seeing Miss Relatable being quirky in the confessionals. Ivan says, no matter how All-Stars 6 comes to be, it will be better than All-Stars 5. Only good thing in that season was Jujubee. What I did like about All-Stars 5 was a little bit of a change in the format. Now, as you noticed, we had a lot of format changes in All-Stars. It's like All-Stars is the safe bet in which you can start to think about possible changes to the format of the show. So we never have real changes on the main show, on the main seasons, but we have had a lot of trials and errors during the years in All-Stars. Remember the returning queens voting. Remember the lipstick gimmick that they had to change because all of the queens became too smart about it and kept choosing the same queen. So World of Wonder couldn't really decide the elimination order anymore, so they had to come out with something else. I like the format of the lip sync assassins coming back, if they actually add lip sync assassin and not just whoever is already under contract, so you don't really have to pay them, or whoever brings in audience just by virtue of their personality. Where is Coco Montrese? Where is Darian Lake? Where is, well, Raven? She's already under contract for something else, so I do understand that she is not there. But where are these people? Where are these people? Those for whom the name Lip Sync Assassin was created by the fandom. I don't know. I wouldn't think of Miss Vanjie as a lip sync assassin. Not really. Evie Oddly, we can talk about it, but Vanjie, no. I mean, I would be gagged if they bring back Silky Ganache saying the lip sync assassin for this lip sync is Silky Ganache. I would be like, no. I'm sorry, but no, not really. Armando said, for season 12, the villain used to be Gigi. I think the villain used to be Gigi with Sherry as a hero. No, I don't think so. Gigi's villain edit was pushed so much and so thoroughly throughout the whole season that it couldn't just be a sudden change of art that happened in the little time that they had to re-edit the season. No. Gigi was clearly the hero. We had so many examples. I was almost getting triggered while reviewing season 12. Sid says, I'm shocked that so many drag queens don't know how to sue. Oh yes, it's shocking, isn't it? But then again, it's not relevant to the market anymore. Think about it. Think about it. When you can just buy it, when you go to do a live performance, okay? You come out of Drag Race, you go to do a live performance, and you are paid anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 to work for 1 hour. You can buy a dress. That's plain and simple. And you're not going to trash it after using it. You're going to use it again. You can use the dresses from your Drag Race package. You start to see that, it's not really relevant anymore to the market. Not to the art. The art is another thing, but to the market. Fantasia, I thought Tamisha was supposed to be the villain this season. I don't think that's possible in the slightest, because they milked Tamisha for as much as they could, and I'm only happy about it because it elevated her in the eyes of the public. So I will close one eye on that, but I see exactly what they were doing. So I don't think she was supposed to be a villain, but I believe that they were gagged when what happened with Candy actually happened. So we had these cameras popping out all over the place, Candy seemingly not allowed to go out, and it was messy. It was messy to watch, but I don't think she was supposed to be a villain. I was actually happy that they didn't send her home first, because as you know, the oldest bitch always goes home first. So the moment they kept her there, I thought, okay, no way they're going to push an older contestant very long. But at least as long as she gets something out of it, we're going to see, okay, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Groover said, Gigi pretty much confirmed in the latest pit stop. She said she thought she was going to be the villain, and the rumors were she was going to be the villain and Sherry the hero. I don't doubt that, because between what really happens on set and the perception that the queens have of what happens on set and then what happens in the editing room, it's two different things. It's two completely different things. But, if Gigi was a little bit more self-aware, like Rosé is, she would have immediately clocked that she was going to be the hero for her season. She was the young and talented. She was the youngest of the bunch. I mean, it doesn't take that much to see what's going on, make your own conclusions on the side, and realize what's actually happened. With that said, of course, when they are filming for Drag Race, I think that the first thing all of them think is, beware of the villain edit. You know, it's like sitting there on your shoulder, scaring you all of the time. You're going to be out of a job. You won't be able to pay your bills. Your career will be destroyed. Don't be the villain. Don't be the villain. Don't be a villain. So I do understand why she might have been afraid of that. And considering her performance, there were moments that could have been easily misconstrued to build that narrative. But in the end, you have to keep your eyes open to what happened during the critiques. Those will really tell you in which way they want to push your edit. So props to Rosé, because I think she probably is the only one who really kept her eyes open during those moments and spotted everything. I don't know if it's just my fantasy, but this is what I believe happened with her. Let me scroll down. Let's see if we have any more questions or we go directly to chit-chatting. Sasha says, the only thing we got was Bob and Monet saying on the pit stop that the edit changed a lot on their podcast, mentioning that Redacted showed up a lot more before. Oh, you're talking about her edit. Well, you never know. You never know. I don't really trust anything that comes out from World of Wonder and the Wow Present channel or the RuPaul's Drag Race channel on YouTube, because they are there to sell the brand. And the queens who are there to sell the brand. So while I do tend to, in general, I tend to take what Bob and Monet say as mostly tea outside of the show. I don't think they would go as far to do something like that, and for World of Wonder to keep something like that in one of their side shows that it's just there to support the brand. No, that's not good business, and we already had a ton of example of the fact that they are indeed conducting a good business. Gothboy UK, I can feel a migraine coming on, so I'm going to head off. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. Jaylin, Gigi has said that she was the villain of the season. Also, she had that argument with Heidi about her makeup. I think we're still stuck in the fact that we're taking what Gigi's perception of her edit as a form of proof. And if we have learned anything on this show, is that unless you are a very aware queen, your perception has nothing to do with the final edit that you're going to get. What matters is the final edit that we're going to get. As a matter of fact, I also heard that, and I cannot quote this directly or give you a link because it comes from the top of my mind, but I also heard that Gigi said that she started that thing with Heidi because she had a feeling she was fading in the background. So she had this feeling that she needed to pop up a little bit, and so she criticized Heidi's makeup. That's what I heard. Blazing Bard, have you seen Pearl's new video? Oh yes, Roxanne returns. The fake responses to the scandal that happened with Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. I mean, Roxanne is a legend. Roxanne is a legend. We want Roxanne on Drag Race. We need Roxanne on Drag Race. We're not going to have Roxanne on Drag Race, but at least we have her on YouTube. Yeah, I never mix Roxanne. Come on. Groover, there were rumors before season 12, and according to them, Gigi was going to be the villain and Sherry was going to be the hero. Gigi even said in the latest episode of The Pit Crew, I believe none of that. For one simple reason, they didn't have time to do that much edit like they did on season 12. And I actually covered the edit for season 12, and there was so much going around Gigi Good that, yes, it would have been humanly possible to change her edit that much, but I simply don't think it's going to happen. Those kind of things are decided, I believe, even before filming. So despite what was her perception, despite what was her experience, there was just so much going on that I doubt that World of Wonder, from a moment to another, found 10 to 20 editors to work full time to edit a season on the fly and do everything that was done around Gigi Good. It's just not... It's just not believable for me. It's not probable enough. It is possible, of course it's possible. I don't think it's probable. Ivan, the word relatable now triggers me because of you. Thank you for ruining that word for me. You are welcome. You are welcome. Groover, Gigi said she was worried if she was going to be the villain, so she started to act nicer. Well, if we learned anything, and this is my personal opinion, of course, is with Gigi Good, is that she was talented, but inevitably young and not very self-aware, especially if we judged by what happened during those damn 2 weeks before the finale. So I don't doubt that she believes all of these things when she's telling the truth, when she's doing these interviews. No, I completely, I take it. But from what I've learned from this show and what I know, I simply don't see it as a probability. As a reasonable probability. I wouldn't put a cent on that option. But with that said, I do believe that that was their perception. Remember, your best possibility to manipulate someone if you're moving them around as puppets is to have them disoriented. You don't want them to understand what's going on. That's when you have the most power of them on them, because they don't know what's going on. And let's not forget, filming this show or producing this show, at this point it has become only a power dynamics, because mini challenge don't really count, challenges don't really count, lip syncs don't really count, runways don't really count. The queens are moving around like puppets, plain and simple. And we've seen all of the tricks that they use to change our perception of these queens, from the shady noises, which is the simplest thing that they use, to everybody bitch facing when they're talking, to juxtaposing confessionals to make them look like they are, for example, with they do this with Simone to Elevator. They make her look like kind of shy and reserved on the show, and then opening up during the confessionals and crying and talking about their issues. And this is still manipulative, but it's used to elevate someone. You can also do the complete opposite. You can have, like it happened with Utica, you can have her saying to Olivia, yes, I think you will do fine, and then pop a confessional saying, I think she's the one most likely to be in trouble. And the two things are not incompatible. They're not incompatible. But when they are presented this way, they give a total different impression. So, you see, they are moved along like puppets. And when you want puppets to move along, you better have them as disoriented as much as you can, so that they will fall in line much easier. Sorry, the chat skipped again. I'm desperately trying to follow What's going on? Where am I? Oh, I'm here. Oh shit, I'm 10 minutes late on the chat. Beverly, the villain edit has been pulled in, I think, after Brita. Oh, don't get me started on Brita. We're talking about Gigi Good or Sherry? Or Redacted? Let's not even mention the name. Fantasia, did you watch the Tamisha show this week? Coffer and Grover admit to it. Oh, you two bitches. Thank you for the shout out. Thank you. Every little bit helps. You know, every little bit helps. Candy Box, have you seen the new Dolls book by Voss Events? It's exquisite. No, I didn't see it. Sasha, Bob and Monet said on their podcast, though, they watched the episodes for the pit stop. That's what I meant. Oh, well, that completely changed everything. I mean, sometimes they do shill for the show a little bit, but they mostly keep it real in their podcast, which is why it's so appealing. No. Ladybug, so who is your top 2 for the crown? Sorry, 1 second. I have mouse number 2 that needs the antibiotic. So I'm going to be back in a minute. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, I'm back. Sorry guys for the interruption, but this is not something that I can skip or I'm willing to skip. So let's go back to the comments. If the chat will collaborate a little bit. Sasha, Gigi is dumb. You said that. I didn't say it. You said that. I'm saying that because I watch her stuff a lot. We should not believe her paranoia. Well, it's not that I believe that she is dumb. She is young. She is learning. But I believe more everything that I've seen from the show and everything that I know happens behind the scenes. So I believe that more. It's just as simple as that. Groover, I think you already read my message. Okay. Yeah, I'm so late to this damn chat. Phoenix, I can't wait for the reunion, and I hope all the tea spills. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to watching Tamisha spill the tea. I don't think they're going to spill that much, and if they do spill, it will still be edited by the producers. So it will be nice to know a little bit more of what happened during filming, even if it's just what the producers allows us to see, but it will still be nice. So I would sign in for that. I hope it's not RuPaul's Best Friend race when they go to that reunion. That is for sure. Grover, during the reunion episode, can you go over the Drag Race iceberg that was made on Reddit? Please tell me what you mean by the Drag Race iceberg made on Reddit. Blazing Bard, but when you give a queen undeserving wins, a full-on in-your-face edit and present her without any depth of nuances, don't you think that would make a great TV villain that no one sees? That is a great point. That is actually a great point. It could be. Now that I think, if you put it in these terms, it could be. But, you know, what can I say? Have you seen what happened with Utica this season? Okay? They pulled out this villain edit out of nowhere. But it could have been believable, since what happened with Crystal Method the season before. It would have been believable that she had a very good chance of getting to the top 4. I thought she had a very good chance of getting to the top 4. So if they wanted to pull something like this with Utica, knowing that everything is already filmed, so they already have all... No. I fucked up with my ad. They could have given some more wins to Utica and then have her fuck up at the end of the season. But then again, they didn't really know she would. But they knew it was going to be a roast, and they knew they could have made it in. I don't know if it's late, but I do understand what you mean, and I do think that is possible. But the only thing that I have to tell you that doesn't really support that is that the young and talented is a figure on Drag Race that must come from marketing. And Gigi was the only one in that age range. So, and it's never portrayed as a villain. So I'm still not convinced, but I see your point, and if you put it like this, I believe it's more probable than just believing what was going on in Gigi's head at the time. Blazing Bar, I don't want to drag this topic too much, though. It's okay. It's okay. But no, I don't. In all honesty, we can discuss about it. We can, evaluate possibilities and so on. But some things are really stable in the way this show is produced. So based on that, yes, I do believe there is a possibility that she was portrayed as a villain. How much of a possibility? Less than 5%. Less than 5%. Please chat, don't skip. And it skipped. Oh my god. Let's go back up. Let's scroll back down. Gianni says, do you think Gottmik association with James Charles will impact her chances of winning? That is a good question. I don't think so. Namely because there is not being that much going. It's not like they are... you see day after day pictures together, or they have a show together. So no, I don't think it's going to impact that much. And most of all, from what I have seen, it's not like there is a movement on social media that's actively trying to cancel James Charles. Is so big that I don't think YouTube is ever going to go against him. They're probably going to go against us for just naming his name. I don't know. You never know here on YouTube, because we are disoriented and easily manipulated. But no, I don't think so. I don't think so, because I don't see that huge association. And don't forget that Gottmik over the years painted a ton of people. So if you just go on YouTube and write down "painted by Gottmik," you will find a ton of queens and a ton of videos from the past 2 or 3 years. So it's not. I consider myself very average from that point of view, because I'm not really following that much of what's going on social media. So from my naive perspective, I didn't even know they had an association to begin with. Groover, I think coffee did the job, but everything for biscuit to be good. Oh, thank you. I saw the message on Discord. That was really nice. That was really nice. We're going to talk a little bit about them later on. Please chat, don't skip. Felicia, my fantasy would be for Denali, Tamisha, Rosé, and Gottmik in the top 5. Top 5. I think, then this is an unpopular opinion, but I think that Lala Ree would have been a much better underdog edit than whatever we were served with Olivia. And she looks like more genuine. I don't know, I'm just putting it out there. Carrie, I don't think Tamisha is spilling tea anytime soon. She said on the last live that she would go on All Stars. You can't spill all the tea when you go on All Stars. That's a difficult topic. That's going to be a difficult topic. So I've been working on a video about it. I'm not sure if it will ever come out, but I'm working on something, because the situation is more complicated than it looks. Phoenix Rising, I'm still mad at how Rosé threw Utica under the bus, and Gottmik admitted on Instagram Live that they did a shady edit with the Tina moment. I didn't like what Rosé did with Utica. Of course it was smart. But it was also really shady, because you don't come out and say, oh, it felt like she was insulting everyone, knowing exactly what's going to happen to that confessional. Failed reads are not personal attacks. They are failed reads. Point blank. So, it was really disingenuous. But if you are there to play the game, you can count on Rosé to be the best one at playing the game. So, I didn't like it. I said it. I pointed it out when I made the live stream for that episode. Sasha, it's a joke on the House of Avalon streams. LOL. We all know Gigi as the dumb one. Not being mean, I love her, but she's really... Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I don't really follow them, so I had no idea. Ashton, young and talented oh, shit. Come on, chat. There we go. Young and talented villain. What about Violet Chachki? Excellent question. Well, first of all, Violet Chachki? Violet Chachki was from season 7, which is a whole topic in and of itself. But Violet, it's more like, when you look back at season 7, Violet was not portrayed as a villain. Violet acted as a villain, because she's a shady queen. We know she's a shady queen. We live for the shade that she throws. There are tons of videos out there about Violet being Violet. The edit for Violet on season 7 was a redempted villain. Mind you, it was a redempted villain. It was not the long seasonal villain that we had, like with Fifi O'Hara, Roxy Andrews, Silky Ganache. Who else was there? Bibi Zahara Benet in All Stars 3. on the top of my mind. That was a failed redempted villain edit. Failed like this edit from Candy Muse, because nobody is Bianca Del Rio. Redeemed edit. Redeemed villain. Somebody corrected me. I always say redempted. And the word is redeemed. I need to practice it a little bit more. So she was not originally portrayed as a villain. It's more like they saw this opportunity and thought, okay, since she's going to be in the top, let's go for a redeemed villain, because she is really a bitch. She's owning it, but that's how it came off. So no, young and talented are never villains. Like villains. No chance. No chance. It could change, but I don't see it changing. Chat, don't skip. EMI says, I was expecting Lala to be the peppermint of this season. I was expecting her to be the underdog. I was really expecting her to be the underdog. Of course, we had this video with all of these queens praising Olivia. Olivia is so sweet. Like the episode 1 didn't even air, and they were shilling so much for Olivia since the very beginning. I'm talking about the RuPaul's Drag Race channel, not the queens. So of course, that was a little bit of a spoiler, if you will, because I immediately thought, okay, there is something going on with this queen on this season. But yes, I was expecting Lala to go first, to go further in the competition, and second, she would have been a perfect underdog at it, much better than Olivia. So when they started portraying her as if she was not serving it, she was saying in the confessionals, oh, I'm giving it my best. Next episode, I'm going to rise and stuff like that. And then we see that it doesn't happen. You immediately understand, okay, she's going home. Blazing Bard, I really didn't understand what they did with Olivia this season. She's such an a typical 5th place. I agree with that. Usually in 5th place we have the underdog edit. That's what we usually have. It's a sweet queen portrayed to be a fan favorite, that it's going through something and overcoming whatever difficulties she had when she first arrived in the show, because they have to have a storyline of that it's evolving, even though it's 3 weeks, but they have to have this thing. And I thought Lala was just perfect for it. I don't know what went on with Olivia. I don't know what went on with the all edit for this season. It looks so ambivalent and messy. It really looks like they cooked half of the season and then they decided, oh no, this doesn't work anymore. We need to go in another direction, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Happy Fuzzy, Utica is trippy. Yeah, but it's a nice kind of trip. Antonina, I didn't enjoy Lala Ree's drag that much. She isn't conceptual enough and not very smart with her choices. I don't think she would do well in later challenges. She went home at the right time. Yes, but, for me, this thing that you just said could be applied to a ton of other queens who went much further in the competition. So, started from the point of view that we have people in the top 6 that could have gone home, like in episode 2, or in episode 3, or in episode 4. Then at this point, if this is what we are going to be served, then I think, well, at least give me Lala Ree. This is the context for all of that. Okay, chat, don't skip. There we go. Blazing Bard. I thought Elliot would get the underdog at it after that horrible first episode, yet she just got broken down. Elliot is the other outlier for this season. I thought she was going to get a victim at it. And I thought that there was this dynamic in the very beginning of the season in which you have Rosé, who had problems with Tina, who didn't go well. Let's not say who had problems, but there was something going on with Rosé and Tina. Then both are from New York, and Candy Muse is from New York, so that intersects the dynamic. And then you have Candy Muse and Tina shitting on Elliot. So you see all of these dynamics that are intertwined with each other's. So based on that, I would say, okay, so they're going to go for a villain edit for Tina and Candy. Rosé didn't manage to look like a villain, so she's not going to look like a villain. She's going to be opposite these two. And to balance it out, then we will have to have Elliot as a complete villain. Instead, we got Elliot being a villain one episode, then... a victim, I wanted to say. Elliot being a victim to balance things out. But then we have Elliot victim one episode, then he's a villain, then he's a victim again. It looks like they couldn't find what they want, the story that they wanted to tell for the season. This is not how you make reality TV. Everybody has to have a story that is consistent, that it's clear to the people who are watching. Otherwise, the season loses rewatchability, first of all, and loses entertainment value. So that's why I said since the very beginning, they gave up the idea of actually telling storylines and exchanged it for shock value, plain and simple. Because they implanted the idea that, oh, you never know what's going to happen this episode. And then the episode after begins and it's the same thing all over again. It was so messy. It was so messy. I want to believe that they had a troubled production, because at least I can justify them for this train wreck that is season 13. But if all of this was their original intention, then shit is going to go downhill. Then, shit is really going to go downhill. This cannot be the will of someone. It had to be a product of a troubled production. I don't want to believe that they did all of this with the intention of doing all of this. And the chat skipped again. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, there we go. Finally, we are back to the bottom of the chat and I can scroll through the comments. What is the problem? When doing this lives, I try to read the comments, I try to answer the questions, but if there are too many people, if there is too many comments, I cannot follow them. I cannot follow all of them. So I have to skip through a lot of stuff. That's why I always ask you, please, if you have questions, go with @top RPDR videos, because it's much easier for me to actually see what's going on. But the moment we start approaching the 3rd hour of Livestream, that's when it becomes really easy to follow what's happening in the chat real time. So, oh, I never changed the background. I never changed the background. Where is it? Here it is. Our usual background. Ashton, I wonder what's the tea with Lalaurie and Tamisha. We didn't get a storyline. I wonder that as well. I heard rumors that they had some kind of problems with each other's. I thought it was really strange that they didn't bring the storyline of the fact that Tamisha was the first one to put Lala in drag, that she was at some point referred as mother and drag daughter, and it really didn't go anywhere. It was done sloppy, but yes, I would be curious to know what's the tea behind that. I hear a lot of speculations, but no real No real statements, if you know what I mean. No real statements. One of these queens coming out and say, okay, this happens and this happened and this happened, and yeah, but it's curious, isn't it? Blazing Bard, are you staying up all night again? No, it happened last week because you have to understand. We realized what was going on with Biscuit last Friday. So on Friday we put her under, or maybe it was Thursday, I don't know. This last 2 weeks they look like a single long day for me. But I think it was Thursday. We realized she was not doing well. We put her under antibiotic as well. Then Saturday morning, she didn't look good at all. She didn't look good on Friday already, but on Saturday she really looked like she was not going to make it. She was not going to make the night. So Saturday night I stayed awake the whole night to be with her. Then my partner checked her during the day, and I checked her during the night on Sunday as well. That's why we had like an 8-hour live stream last Sunday, and that on Monday as well. Then on Tuesday she started to look better, and I thought, okay, I can sleep at night because I actually have to work as well, and I actually have to take whatever free time I have to make the videos for the channel. I'm behind 1 week, if you noticed. The video for episode 12 is not out yet, but this week should have been episode 13 already. So it's really been a crazy couple of weeks. So no, I'm not going to stay up all night. I've been slowly starting to give the antibiotic to Biscuit a little bit sooner every day, like 15-20 minutes one day, 15-20 minutes another day. So we went from 4 in the morning to 1.5 in the morning, because I cannot always wake up in the middle of the night to give her the antibiotic. It destroys your sleeping cycle. I think you all noticed I started this stream and I think everybody realized, my God, he is destroyed. That's because I am. That's because I am. It's too much. It's too much stuff. Too many things going on. Carrie says, Tamisha and Lala were together yesterday on Instagram Live. The storyline on Drag Race was messy. Did they spill anything in the Instagram Live? Because I did manage to download, and thanks to Groover for sending the link, the live that Candy did on Instagram, explaining what happened what happened during when she had this panic attack, what was actually going on, the fact that production offered to bring her to the hospital and she is the one that refused. So she made them look much better, and you know, if she's claiming that this is what happens, I have to take her word. So you know, I'm going to give a little bit more props on World of Wonder, but still I would have preferred that all of that actually aired, because it really looked like it was milked for the drama. And independently of what you think happened, if someone says that it doesn't feel good in that way, there is no discussion, point blank. You have to show me that you told them, let's go to the hospital, because you have to go to the hospital. Whatever. Blazing Bard, All-Star 6 is probably happening reasonably soon. Do you have a good prediction list already? People came already in the live stream telling me that there are prediction lists. I try to be as oblivious as possible about them because I want a genuine reaction when I really find out who actually is there. So I don't care if I end up in the stream talking bullshit, saying things like, "Oh, Darian Lake, I hope it's time that she's on All Stars. Maybe she's on All Star 6, and maybe she's not." You know, I just prefer it that way. So if we can avoid this kind of spoilers, because spoilers have getting better and better every time. I don't know if you guys know, but I was going to have a series on Gigi Good and what happened in that damn final for season 12. So back in summer, I had to make a little bit of research, and I ended up, there is a spoiler. There is a spoiler sub on Reddit when they basically in the comments, it was basically what happened. Somebody from production went in that subreddit and spilled the list of the songs that were going to be lip synced by the final 3. This happened 1 week before. I saw this as an original comment in the original subreddit, so I had to track it down where it came from, and it came from this sub. And in the comment section, there were people already saying Jada is going to win, this is already settled, and these kind of things are getting better and better by the day. So I prefer not to have it, because it really destroys the way I'm doing this show, the predictions, the storyline. It's a huge chunk of this show that we completely lose, because I'm not going to pretend, oh, I think this person is going on from this and this, and no, there is a reliable source of spoilers. I was spoiled, so unfortunately we cannot have speculations anymore. So that's what I think about this whole spoiler thing. Usually if it's not something that I'm not covering for review, so it's just something that I'm watching because I'm occupying in time, I'm leaving my fantasy and I'm just living my fantasy, like with Drag Race UK. Then in that manner, I don't really care about spoilers. Like I went on Discord, we talked about it, even though I haven't watched the episode. We were freely talking about it. It doesn't really matter. But if I have a review to do, and we are watching all of these things, that for me, one of the most important part is recognizing the signs of particular edits that gets pulled off, particular storylines, and then see how those relate to the predictions for the show. This is one of my goals for this. I cannot do it if I get spoilers. I mean, technically, yes, I could still do it, but I'm not going to put on a face for the show. So if I get spoiled, I will just come here and say, listen, I got spoiled, I'm sorry. 50% of the show will not be here, and that's it, Blazing Bard, whatever happened to J. Jolie? I feel like she is not considered Drag Race canon at all, and I want to see her so bad. I don't know if J. Jolie is still doing drag. I don't know. I don't follow her. I never heard anything from her in ages. She got famous because of her career in adult movies. But other than that, I have nothing on J. Jolie. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Daisy says, going to the hospital in LA during the pandemic isn't even so easy. Many people have gone without care. Oh, yes, that is true as well. A lot of people, not just in the U.S., in the world, didn't receive proper care because the hospitals were so overwhelmed to begin with. And I have a personal experience about it, so I know what the deal is. Nevertheless, one thing is going to the hospital and having them say, okay, you have to wait, or we cannot check you. But then again, the exam and an ECG is such a quick and easy exam that I'm surprised they don't have a doctor with that basic equipment on set. It's, you know, it's a big production. RuPaul's Drag Race is a big production. If you're still not convinced, they even went to film on another location the moment they started to get more and more money. So, I don't know. I find it really strange. Happy Fuzzy, good night. Thank you for coming. Blazing Bar, she does. She has great looks. Don't pull the adult movie. I won't. I won't pull her anymore. I won't pull the adult movie anymore. Okay, looks like we have basically reached the middle, the end of the stream. Fantasia says, I missed another Tamisha's live. Did she go live tonight? Maybe somebody will re-upload it. Okay, so since the chat is slowing down, I would call an early stream end, go to sleep, recover a little bit, have a good night's sleep, and I'll see you guys back next week or on the Discord as usual. I hope to have these 2 episodes out this week, but you know how it's going, you know what's going on, so I hope to have them out, but we will see about that. Anyway, thank you for coming, have a good night, and have a great week, and I'll see you next time.